Faux shizzle.
Kinda helps out motion.
Patch notes faux shizzle.
These are a lot shorter, so possibly take us long. I sit there with a lot of air.
Yeah, fairly short patch this week, though.
Yeah, it's all dull. We should get this over with in time to have it all on the VOD. Greetings and salutations and welcome to the League of Legends Patch Podcast. I think that's my intro. Is that the whole intro? It's me, Ahrtimmer.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't there for the first one.
Ahrtimmer and Real Impact. We got shits that are... Why did I just point? I pointed to either side of me. Like, I wouldn't know which direction to point. Well, I have a general idea. Craig's that way. Danny's somewhere over there.
You're sort of northwest for me, so... so I'll
Yeah.
be southeast.
Art, they can't exactly see you pointing.
I know.
Speak for yourself. I am not.
I can.
Since when did you become clairvoyant?
Binoculars.
He's from New Zealand. Of course he's clairvoyant.
Yeah.
So, this is the show where we talk a lot of nonsense, and we try to keep it on the topic of the patch notes. We're also going to have a brief discussion about the champion, and then, if we have time, we'll have a topic of the week. And today I've brought the topic. It's not really a topic of the week, because we do this fortnightly. Wow, this is getting to a great start.
God, we're getting sidetracked already.
Might as well get started on the patch notes then. League of Legends version 1.0.0.140. Now, wasn't the last League of Legends version, like the last patch, the same number? That seems wrong. Was it
I had a feeling-
1.0.0.130?
We can test this by going back to the last patch notes.
We
I
can.
will do that. So you guys carry on, do stuff. I'll figure it out.
Without going into Draven just yet, we have Ahri. Ahri's Foxfire damage reduced at later ranks to 40, 65, 90, 115, 140 from 40, 70, 100, 130, 160. Yeah. Ability power ratio has been increased to compensate to 0.4 from 0.375. Spirit Rush damage reduced to 85, 125, 165 from 100, 140, 180. Ability power ratio has been increased to 0.35 from 0.3.
I have been talking... No, I haven't been talking to him, but I've been reading on the forums, and someone did the maths and found out that even though the damage reduction from the base damage looks a bit like a nerf, the increase in ability power, it's basically an early game nerf. By the end of the game, you'll have quite a bit extra damage on the things because of the AP ratio.
No, that's just it. They're trying to balance out how strong it is early on,
And more
while
importantly,
still keeping power late game.
having watched their little video that they do, what they wanted was to make it so that you couldn't build just tanky items and still deal a stupid amount of damage.
And you're right about the patch number. It's the same.
We've gone from the version we had to the version we had and gotten new things.
Methinks they might have slipped up a bit on that.
In which case, what should it be? Let's say, should it be 1.0.0.150, or should it be some 145 or something? Like, I feel that last number should be reserved for, like, the tiny patches they do, like hot fixes and things
Well,
immediately after a champ comes out.
the Hecarim patch a month back, that was 0.138.
This is true. This is very true.
Who knows?
This one completely upgraded the entire textures.
Yeah, they
all
did.
the things,
They
so
did lots of nice things in this one.
that only went up 2 points.
Anywho, Back on top.
On with the thing. So yeah, early game damage has been reduced. Not so much, because for the most part she just uses Orbit of Deception. I find Ahri, at the elo we play at, she's very, very powerful mid-game. Well, not mid-game, mid-lane, because she's got a lot of range and damage potential compared to a lot of the champions she fights against. But like discussing this with Real Impact before the show, we came to the conclusion she's not overpowered because
It's just a case of you need to be able to predict when that Orbit Deception is going to be thrown, because the high damage really only comes if she can get you at the very end and double tap you.
Overpowered implies that something in her makeup is out of proportion with the people she's fighting, but it's not that. Her early game dominance of mid lane is because most of the champions who mid lane don't have really good early game potential. She's similar to LeBlanc on that scale, because LeBlanc is incredibly powerful in mid, but it's more because she's just well designed to counter other mid laners like, say, Vega or Fiddlesticks and some of the more squishier champions who are there to try and build up power relatively peacefully.
Such as Annie.
Ahrtimmer fixed a bug that caused players to hear sad robot Ahrtimmer's voice across the map.
I already found that in spectate mode.
Oh yeah?
Never saw it in game. You just keep watching it here.
Well, I've never actually seen sad robot Ahrtimmer. I need to get around to doing that.
It's one hell of an experience.
A bug fix for him before we even get to see him in game.
Yeah. I would have liked them to leave it in, because I reckon with Ahrtimmer being who he is, that would be the best for psychological warfare. Like, just walk into the enemy's vision range and just, like, use your taunt or whatever, and just try and make the entire enemy team depressed.
Oh, God.
Darius. Hemorrhage. Passive bonus attack damage ratio reduced to 0.3 from 0.4. Noxian Guillotine will now only refresh its cooldown when it deals the killing blow itself.
I thought it's what it was already, but apparently not.
I know what it used to be. It didn't actually used to be a you kill the person with the ultimate. It's just if you used it on them and they died within the next 0.5 seconds, it would refresh the cooldown by any means, not even by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's how they originally had it.
Noticed before. Apprehend pre-pull animation has been modified to be more readable for enemy champions, and fixed a bug with Hemorrhage applying Rile's Crystal Scepter and Spell Vamp effects.
Yes.
Okay, so the Hemorrhage nerf.
Not a big change there.
Yeah. When you think about it, when I originally, that's the word we were going for, when I originally read Darius and thought about him, I honestly thought Hemorrhage, like the fact that he gets you to bleed, was passive. So I really need to play the guy. Still haven't done it. Don't have the IP.
He's free this week, so...
Yeah, I should do that while he's free. Try out another champion that I will immediately hate.
Why do you think you hate him?
It's not that. We're just Draven. We will get to Draven. I will explain everything, and I hope somebody agrees with me. So yeah.
Still not.
Oh no, wait. Hemorrhage is passive. Why have I? It says it in. Oh no, wait. No, the passive effect. I don't even know what I'm reading anymore.
Hemorrhage is his passive.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. So why is there something else that has a blood drop thing? There isn't, is there? I'm just making a fool of myself. Let's go with that. Okay. My only moving right along. My only problem with this, it all seems pretty good. I didn't really feel he needed a number nerf, but if Riot feels that he needed a slight adjust there, that's probably a good thing. Fixed a bug with Hemorrhage, applying Rile's Crystal Scepter slow and Spell Vamp effects. I don't see why it shouldn't. Because it's a magic damage over time. Yes, it's based off your attack, but Fizz does the same thing.
But that's an ability.
The passive's an ability, it's just passive. I'm sure there's someone else who deals magic damage on their attacks. There's gotta be. No. Yeah, he
Orianna?
Yep. Orianna, she does that. She would apply Rise Crystal Scepter and Spell Vamp effects, wouldn't she, on that?
I don't know, I actually haven't bothered to test that.
I think that they should have left it in, because as much as it's a ridiculous concept, building AP Darius is the kind of thing that I like to muck around with. I like to do research and experimental item builds.
It wouldn't be viable at all on him. He's got no AP ratios.
Well, he clearly can get Spell Vamp. Well, used to.
Yeah, if you wanted to get anything with Spell Vamp and actually still get something out of it, you'd have to build a Hextech Gunblade.
More importantly, you'd get Riley's Crystal Scepter and Frozen Mallet. Try running now. But
God, he's hard enough to get away from as is.
But no, they're not going for it, which is, like, if they don't want it to be a thing, then I can't really argue with that, but I like little aspects like that being left in the game to be utilized, like Gangplank's Parlay being counted as a melee attack in terms of Tiamat damaging. Things like that. I like little...
Other Gangplanks have a pistol. I have a shotgun.
Indeed I do. I like little things like that being left in the game because it makes for interesting concepts. Ezreal, Essence Flux mana cost has been reduced to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 from 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
So, dropped by 10.
Yep. And True Shot Barrage.
Mana cost reduced by 50.
That's quite a bit. I've never really seen a...
Early game Ezreal can spend a lot of mana. Like, a massive amount. But,
So it needs to be with, like, a Menomune Soraka or something as their support.
Well, it's why you see most decent Ezreals pick up a Goddess tier item.
Yeah, because he's spamming abilities already. He's designed for that, and getting the Goddess tier item is so helpful. It's going to have a large effect early game before they've stacked their Manamune. They will be able to use more abilities on you, but once the Manamune's stacked up, you got more mana than you can poke a stick at.
True that.
Galio. You go.
Resolute Smite's AP ratio reduced by 0.1, so it's now 0.6 from 0.7. Not a big change.
It will actually have a fairly significant impact on some Galios, others not so much, because with Galio you've got the choice. You can build AP and be an artillery-based guy, just fire in eyeballs and wind from the back of the fight, or you can build a magic resist tank, like he is originally designed to do, and for my own... I have problems with his functionality. Galio, I feel, isn't as effective as I want him to be. But he's actually become really popular lately, and most people are still building magic resist tanks, so maybe I'm in the wrong here. But back on topic, if you're going for the AP Galio build, like I usually do, that will have a fairly significant effect on your final damage.
True.
But, yeah. Graves. Now, here's a nerf that we all wanted to see coming, although... yeah. Buckshot. Damage is reduced at later ranks to 60, 95, 130, 165, 200 from 60, 105, 150, 195, 240.
Actually, that's a fairly significant drop.
That is a fairly significant drop, but the damage per extra bullet has been increased to 35% from 25%. Smoke screen duration has been reduced by 1 second to 4 seconds.
I feel they did that because it was lasting too long in team fights. People would just get into a team fight, fire it straight at the ground, and anyone in that area would get mixed up.
What it did is it made a dead zone in the middle of a team fight. It made, in a team fight, you'd put down the smoke screen, and no one would walk into it. Because it's a slow, and it's that line of sight, which is a massive effect when you get right down to it. And so, if you're in it, you get out, and if you're not in it, you go around. You do not go through the smoke screen. So, it just left a dead zone on the map that people wouldn't utilize, which, if it lasts 5 seconds, that's ages.
The only other slow effect that I can think of off the top of my head that lasts about as long would probably be loosened singularity, but I mean, most people detonate that. They don't just let it wear out on its own.
Now, buckshot.
So glad for that.
Yeah, it's 40 damage, that'll have an impact, but with the amount of power Graves has behind him, I feel that it's not enough. What?
Well, it does lower his earlier game damage.
Early game, definitely. The late game, when he's got 2-3 Bloodthirsters, 2-3 Phantom Dancers, shoes, and just whatever else he decides to take to kill you.
What AP carry how many people can stand against AP carries when they've got that build?
You said AP carry, it's an AD carry.
ADs, sorry, getting mixed up.
Yeah.
AP Graves.
How many people can stand against AD carries when they've got that build? Rammus is one of the few.
Rammus, hello? You want to shoot me some more?
Why don't you go break your back on a mountain? God, I love that taunt video.
Yep.
But
what I feel, okay, here's how I feel about Graves. I feel that Buckshot is too powerful, not because of the damage it deals so much, but the fact that he goes, oh, there's an enemy team there in a team fight. Bang! They've all taken like 1 million damage. And then he just uses his ult, gets them again, and then shoots them all one by one. Until they're all dead. What I feel should be done is it should be made so that the bullets don't have penetration. Because as I understand it, he fires 3 bullets, right, in a cone. I feel that they should hit one champion and then not pass through. And so what you can do is you can then have your tank, your Alistair, your Cho'Gath. It would work really well with larger champions, but you could also do it with a Rammus or something, is go in and get right in front of Graves so that when he uses his buckshot, it hits you, hurts you a decent amount because, well, you've just taken all 3 bullets, or at least 2 of them. But your team behind you has survived relatively intact, and then they can just insta-kill Graves, because he doesn't have the health, and so it makes him less of a one-man army. I mean, yes, you'd usually go, if you were the Graves, you wouldn't go in alone, but the amount of damage he can do to an entire team if they're even remotely clustered is insane.
The other way of doing it, like if you kept the penetration,
would be to have damage reduction per target hit on each bullet.
Like a lot of abilities along those lines do.
I like the idea of having it more as a farming tool, and then when it hits a champion, it ends.
That would work if it goes through minions, but if each bullet stopped when they hit a champion, that would work really well, and you'd still get, because it is supposed to be a shotgun, and so if you're shooting someone with it, the bullets really shouldn't penetrate.
I'm just looking at this. Does that mean that if you go right up to someone, right in their face, you do all the base damage, all of your extra damage, and then you get 70% of that extra put on top?
No. What happens is, like, if you manage to hit someone with all 3 shots, you would be dealing 170% buckshot damage.
Okay.
Like
so
the extra bullets don't deal full damage themselves.
Like he was saying, you get all the damage from the ability.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And then get 35 extra for each extra bullet. I think it's actually calculated as 3 separate checks, but I don't know. Like, I think it's a matter of, like,
Yeah, there's normally too many numbers flying whenever I encounter Grey, so I can't really check it.
I think it's a matter of the first bullet to hit you deals full damage, but each subsequent bullet deals only 35%, like,
Yep, that's correct.
like Fiora's. So that the first one deals a full check, but then each check after that is reduced because she's already hit you. I think that's how it's worked out, as 3 separate checks as opposed to one really big one. But yeah, we might as well get on with the show, because we can complain about Graves until the cows come home, and I don't even own cows, so that could take a while.
Jax, empowered damage reduced at later ranks by 40 points at max level.
That will have a significant impact on Jax. However, he kind of hurts a lot without it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, but it'll still
of,
help stop some people playing him as much of a nuker.
Yeah. Just look at the way he plays, though. He starts his stun, then jumps and hits you, and then stuns you. So I'm guessing they're reducing his early damage in that burst, so then you've got a chance to kind of get away from him.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It's at the moment, by the time the stun's over.
I find it a little unexpected, because I felt Jax is in a really good place, but when you really think about it and describe it as you have just then, it's really not a surprising change, because he does have a lot of burst potential, this whole Jax man, and it's good that he does, because not many people have burst in the same way that he does. At least I don't think they do. Probably made myself look like a git now. But,
yeah, they just needed to make his burst a little bit more survivable.
Yeah.
Because he just gets a stun so quickly afterwards.
Well, you can trigger it. Most people are very, very clever with how they use their stun. Cogmore, living artillery damage bonus to champions has been reduced.
I don't really understand why they did the bonus damage. Why?
To prevent you using it to just farm minions. In particular, to prevent you sitting in a bush somewhere and destroying a minion mob from significant range using living artillery, so that the enemy team doesn't see you on the map changing the flow of that lane.
Okay.
Because think about, one of the things I like to do with Evelyn, and you guys will see this once I get a video uploaded later today, is get a Sunfire Cape, stealth, and then run into the enemy lane with a minion mob. And then I'll just stand perfectly still, or maybe run around back and forth through the minions, burning the minions, enemy minions, to death. It changes the flow of that lane, because suddenly your minions have the advantage, and so they're pushing instead of the enemy large minion mob. And at the same time, the enemy haven't seen a champion there, so they haven't expected a serious shift in flow. And so it's a good way to make them suddenly lose a tower. Better yet, you can de-stealth just as the minions get to the tower and suddenly be hitting it. It's a good way to manipulate the flow of the game in ways that the enemy can't easily see happening. Cogmore could do the same, because unless he's like within somebody's sight range, they're not gonna see him if he's sitting in a bush raining living artillery on minions. So that's why there is the bonus damage to champions.
Okay.
Them affecting it. They could have just changed the damage ratios and things, but in the end, what they've done is they've made his ultimate more effective against minions in relation to champions. Or, if you want to word it differently, less just spam it on a champion and they'll die. You can theoretically or efficiently use it on minions now if you want.
I guess they're just trying to make his ultimate a bit more I don't know what the word is, but make it more like Corky's ultimate, where it doesn't really do that much damage.
But you use it a lot, yeah. That makes sense.
True.
It's a hard change to talk about, really, when you think about it, because It's odd. It's lost a sixth of its damage, but that's actually a significant amount. Nautilus, Titan's Wrath damage reduced at later ranks to 30, 55, 80, 105, 130 from 30, 60, 90, 120, 150.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, that's the shield and the damage they're talking about, I believe. It's the damage over time to everyone near the target.
Yeah,
that would be correct.
Because I had to look that up.
I haven't played Nautilus myself yet.
Me neither. The champions I haven't played. I think I own him too.
Yeah, I know I own him, but I just haven't gotten around to playing him.
Titan's Wrath
really annoying.
That was a lot of damage when you think 150 damage at level 5. He's got a really powerful dot.
The thing is, though, what's the duration that's spread over?
Not sure.
That's one thing that you'd have to look into.
2 seconds. The effect does 130 plus 0.4 magic damage over 2 seconds, which is quite a bit, actually. Short amount of time.
That is actually quite a good dot, but then again, Nautilus does... Well, non-Trollsy Nautilus don't exactly attack very fast.
No, they don't.
Well, the dots spread over 2 seconds, so you don't want to attack fast. You want to hit them every 2 seconds. Is there a champion in the league who only hits every 2 seconds?
Oh, God.
Well, you'd get close, because a lot of champions have a base attack speed of 0.625. Is there someone with an 0.5? Preferably an 0.5 at level 18. That would be amazing.
They'd have to hit like a truck to compensate.
Trust me, I have so many champion ideas that are like really, really low attack speed and designed not to get attack speed items, just to get pure damage. Because it's a build that you don't see very often, and I want to see it implemented more into the game to be low attack speed but high damage output.
You know, this is coming from the person who came up with an idea for a champion that was nigh unkillable but dealt practically no damage.
Yeah. I remember him. Get this right. Yeah, we're getting really off topic now, but I have ideas. The idea, if it's the one I'm thinking of, was a champion who's like a regular Joe Blow. Like there is nothing special about this guy except he is ridiculously persistent. Like he entered the League of Legends because he rocked up at the League of Legends like, hey, I want to be a champion. Every day, like, since the league was created, and they're like, you're not strong enough, you will be killed by these people. And no, I want to do this. And like, he would just sit there and be like, I'm gonna be a champion. And they eventually gave in, and like a high up summoner's like, fine, and just puts him in a fight with no training, nothing, in a fight with a whole bunch of people. And he's like hitting people with sticks and dealing no damage. But because he's so persistent, what happens is he dies, but his passive, right, I think I decided it should be, was that he over time generates stacks of, you know, Guardian Angel? Basically that. So he'd die, and then he'd get back up. And die, and get back up. And get back up. Like, it would stack up to 9 times. And he'd get a stack like every 30 seconds or so. And so it's like, I will not die. No. Just totally deny the enemy team to the point where you're like, I don't want to kill you anymore, because it doesn't do anything.
I'm sick of trying to kill you.
And you'd have special animation, so it looked like he's falling over and then just, nut. Denied. Although, I just realized that Darius would be hilarious. He'd be like, execution! And because he's actually, he hasn't died as such, but it'd be weird.
That's a good thing. I'd like to test that with if Darius kills someone with either Zillion's ult or the
Guardian thing.
Or the Guardian Angel, will it refresh them?
It probably won't, but if it did, I can just imagine him sitting there jumping up and down on this guy. Like, stay dead!
Oh god, all the thunderclaps.
Thunderclap.
So yeah, that's one of my concepts. This is one of the ones that's been thrown into the this is not viable bin, but I found it hilarious.
If they were going to make him viable, that this passive would probably be like the more champions that are around him, the more cooldown reduction he has or something.
Nice.
But anyway, carry on,
Moving
please.
along to Nocturne.
Nocturne. Underblade's healing amount per target hit adjusted to 10, 18, 26 from 15, 20, 25.
I think what they've done there is they've increased it to 8 health per thing hit instead of 5. So that means that if you attack 2 minions, you're not going to get as much as you used to, but if you attack a whole group, you're going to get quite a lot more health back from it.
What they've done is made it so as you level up, you get higher returns from it.
I thought that, no, per target hit adjusted to 10.
10, 18, 26. So
Yeah,
at level 1, you're getting 10 per target you hit.
Oh, right. I thought that okay, never mind. I thought that meant
it's
like...
one of the passives that gets stronger as you get stronger, because who has enough health for 26 health to be relevant at late game? It's going to make jungling Nocturne harder. It's going to make early game sustain lower, but that's not a big deal because you don't see many laning Nocturnes. I feel it's going to really hurt his jungle, because his jungle is early game. 5 health per target hit lost is going to be significant, but that said, you also don't hit many targets at a time in jungle.
Max is 3, so...
no, the max is 4.
Oh, Ghosts, right, yeah, I forgot about him.
You're showing your noobishness.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, he's still got quite a good jungle anyway.
There are people with better jungles, but his is good.
I don't build Nocturne, right? I'm building far too squishy.
I know the feeling, but if there's a Lux on the enemy team, it just makes my day. Someone got Nocturne's like, hello, Lux.
Yeah, but...
your soul.
Oh god, no need to sound so cheerful about it.
Hey, nobody likes Lux.
Damage over time doesn't spell shields, does it?
But then again, I'm a Marissa fan, so...
You would be.
It's the closest I can get to her.
Nunu fixed a bug where Absolute Zero was revealing Nunu when cast from a bush. I'm glad they did this because my favorite thing, I've never done it, but seen from Nunu is like, the whole enemy team is chasing me. I'm gonna run into this bush, and they'll go, let's get him! And they run into the bush to find him just finishing his ult, and they all die.
But don't you get the frosty stuff on your feet when you run towards the bush, which...
I don't think you get the frost, but you certainly slow down, and so the enemy team's like, what's going on? It's the hardest thing to notice because you're used to seeing this giant circle, and instead you're just slowing down until someone steps into the bush and sees the circle, and it's like, oh. And then at that point, everybody turns it. Like Pro League players, it's a hard trick to pull because they'll notice the slow and go, okay, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. But the good thing about doing it is they can't target you until they get really close, so it's that decision of do I want to get really close? Yeah, or do you just want to run?
Yeah, considering how hard it is to get Nunu's ult actually charged and fired properly, he needs to have that.
Yeah, it was an annoying bug for some people, I imagine. I don't play Nunu, so it didn't annoy me, but yeah.
I love cancelling Nunu's ult with Jarvan's knock-up. That's the best way to cancel it, because it's such a hard way to do it.
Yeah, I can see that. So long as you don't Demacia your whole team next to it.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Demacia! And your whole team just goes, I hate you, Jarvan. I don't want to be here anymore.
Oh, God. Now, personally, my favorite method is to drop a bear on him, but...
That'll stun. Oh, you're making me cold. I'm going to burn your face off. Enjoy the bear.
Yeti versus
so
Bear.
much fun with Annie.
It's become a world's, like, an illegal TV show, basically. Yeti versus Bear. Renekton.
Actually, I have seen an image on DeviantArt. It had the Annie in Wonderland skin.
Oh, yeah.
So it had Tibbers dressed up as the rabbit, bloody grappling with the Yeti that Nunu rides, while both Annie and Nunu are sitting there bloody hurling insults at each other.
I like it. Fixed, we've already read that one. Renekton, Slice and Dice, armor reduction increased at later ranks to 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, from 15, 17.5, 20, 22.5, 25.
I didn't even know it had armor reduction.
Neither did I.
I don't know anything about Renekton. It's like the only champion I haven't looked up in.
I loved Renekton because he's the first champion in a legitimate game that I fully stacked a Sword of the Occult on. It was on Twisted Treeline, so it hardly counts as a proper legitimate game.
Nobody likes Twisted Treeline.
So why is it that you feel... Oh, hang on, no. Ask the question.
Something about Renekton doesn't feel good in Summoner's Rift, but that will have a massive impact. That's a whole 10% of the enemy armor reduced extra. But yeah,
that is quite
I
a
didn't even know it did that, and I played him fairly substantially when he first came out because I loved the guy. I just didn't like that he sucked.
Why is it that you feel he does better in 3v3? Like he just seems to...
I feel that he's very easy to bring down if you've got like a large team. Like, you can't take on the whole enemy team, whereas in 3v3 you more effectively can. That, and like, my whole team died barely damaging the enemy team in this same game, and I just went in and using Slice and Dice to go through walls and just pulling some insane shit, I got a triple kill. It's like, yeah, I just aced your team alone, and you were all on basically full health. You have been outplayed, foes. Now let me go get my pimp hat and cane, and I'ma whip your ass.
Oh, that should be his new skin.
Renekton in a pimp hat.
Should be his new skin. I can imagine him in like a big sort of white fur coat. The hat stuff.
Great big hat, great big feather in the hat.
But how could you change his weapon into a pimp cane there?
Yeah, that would just look weird. A giant solid gold pimp cane with
So far about the only person who could do that would be Swain.
True.
Pimp Swain. What would he transform into? I don't know, some other thing from or something that's a reference to Saints Row is probably the best bet for what he'd transform into, but I can't think of something off the top of my head.
Please leave your comments below as to what Swain would transform into if they gave him a pimp skin.
Or what other champions you'd like to see a pimp skin for.
Yes, even better.
How about a pimp Shen? That won't work. Key Strike, cooldown increased to 9 seconds from 8 seconds. That kind of sucks. I like Key Strike. But it's only 1 second.
All the things they've done to Shen have been nerfs. They increased the cooldown of his Vorpal Blade, the damage of it. Now they've...
What you got to remember, and this is before you rocked up, but in Season 1, so a while back now, Shen was the most... like, he was the guy that was either banned in ranked games, or, which was most games, or he'd be first pick. Because a good Shen player can keep his, for the most part, his entire team alive, unless 2 people get ganked at once. And at the same time has a really good damage output, what with how Key Strike works. In fact, Key Strike is the core of one of the illegitimate Legends builds that I've got in my head for Shen, in that it's a combination of attack speed, Ahrtimmer's Impaler, and health. And so you deal a lot of damage against champions, because at least it used to be, and I'm not sure if it still is, but Keystrike's cooldown would be, like, active cooldown would be reduced by 1 second for every time you hit a champion. And so the idea is, you use your attack speed to get Keystrike more often, and then your health and Ahrtimmer's Impaler to deal a lot of damage with Keystrike.
I see.
That was the concept. Not sure if it still works, because they may have changed that. I need to get a look at some numbers and do spreadsheet the game. And I'm just kidding. I don't ever do that. I just use leaguecraft.com. Sponsor.
Wait,
yeah,
do you have sponsors?
No. I'm just ripping off Tabascus. Sponsor. Yeah, no, he doesn't sponsor me, I wish. Swain, his basic attack range has been increased to 500 from 480. Decrepify range has been increased by 25, and slow increased at later ranks to 40%, where it used to be 32%. Lastly, Ravenous Flock cooldown has been reduced by 2 seconds.
Massive buff on the range, because I find that any kind of increase in range to abilities is very good.
Particularly seeing as it's Laser Bird.
Yeah. Because it's always... I find that generally early game, the person who's going to win a trade is the person who can start first. Yeah. Or no, not really.
Well, it all depends on the champs.
Yeah, it depends. But if you do things like actually, this is going to be quite different. This is going to be quite good against what's his name, Rise, since they recently nerfed the hell out of the range of his overload. So now Swan's going to be able to put dirt on him from even further away and
prevent him from using overload. Yeah. It feels like particularly with the basic attack range increase, it feels like they've been, for the last little while, upping Swain's farming potential. Because he had an attack frame increase, he's now got an attack range increase. What are you going to see next? A projectile speed increase?
That's a good point, because really Swain's only farming tool is a snare, and that is quite valuable to him. You don't really want to use it whenever you want.
Decrepify and... what's the other ability that he uses?
The thing that increases damage over time.
That one.
What was it? He's got Decrepify.
Swirlies of Dot. Swirlies of Dot. We'll just call it that. Swirlies of Dot. That you don't want to use against minions. No. And the snare you want to save because it's got a relatively long cooldown, and you want to be using it to get the enemy team so that you can use Laser Bird and Swirlies of Dot.
His ult is quite good, and if you just his
ult is quite good, but its mana, it is very mana hungry.
But you got to remember, if you've gotten the enemy minions down quite low, you can just kind of quickly tap it and get the kills, and that'll decrease the amount of mana that you'll have used.
They've made it easier for you to do that because they've reduced the cooldown of Ravenous Flock.
Yeah, and if you get the kills, because what's his passive is increase in mana every time you get a kill, isn't it?
He gets mana every time he gets a kill, he restores so much.
Yeah, so if you actually get the kills of Ravenous Flock, it's not... you'll still lose mana, but not as much as you would have.
Yeah, true.
Lastly, we have Urgot. Danny.
Oh, yeah, Terra Capacitor. I love this champion. All the moves work so well together. Terra Capacitor Shield. Reduced at later ranks to 80, 130, 180, 230, 280. From that's actually a big drop. Wow, 80, 140, 200, 260, 320. That's a big drop. But is that like Jarvan's where it's just whatever, or does it have a ratio on it?
It's got an AP ratio on it.
Okay.
How many Urgots have you seen build ability power? Trust me, I've tried. Making an ability power tank is kinda hard.
And in his ultimate turns, well, now not as well. I don't like how they've reduced it at early ranks, with his ultimate now being that hyperkinetic position reverse armor and magic resistance bonus reduced to 1691.20 from it's not very big near the end.
Yeah, it's only 10 points at the end, and 10 points of armor and magic resist isn't a massive thing.
Yeah, but that's a lot.
It is. 20, particularly early game, when you're going to be getting or losing the 20, is going to be a massive difference. Because early game, like when you've got low armor and magic resist, is when armor and magic resist becomes most important. And so, yeah, that'll hurt. That will kind of hurt Urgot. Well, it won't, but things hitting him will. It could be bad, but that said, most people don't use hyperkinetic position reverser for the armor and magic resist. They use it because they've got a chance of getting a kill and they want to pull the enemy back from the tower because they're just about to escape, or
to pull them into the tower.
Or pull them into a tower. On Twisted Tree Line, you want to pull them into, well, that's more late game still, but pulling them into the Nexus, not the Nexus, the laser fountain.
It's definitely
it is hilarious when that happens.
I had I'm reminiscing, right? I had first an Urgot in Twisted Tree Line, and every time we went into our base, or his base, rather, because we were winning pretty well, every single time we went into his base, he would hyperkinetic position reverse one of us into the laser. He had so many kills. Like we were completely destroying them, but every we go in as three of us, and then suddenly one of us is dead. Like, go away!
It's really good at bringing people into those things because unlike Blitzcrank, you can kind of guess when he's going to do it and try and dodge it. But with Urgot, it's just instant. There's no way you can dodge it. As soon as you're in range, he gets you.
It's like a jump.
Gotta be funny if you could do that to a minion, because there'd be so much hate for that, because it's just like, oh, I got a minion! Like, they hate when people accidentally ignite a minion when the Fiora's on like 2 health or something and she runs off. And like, come on!
On the flip side of that, yesterday this was Eve stuff again, I was trying to counter jungle Yi. I was all like, I'm gonna steal that golem from you. And because Yi was like directly behind the image of the golem, I clicked on the golem and it attacked Yi, and it's like, damn it, game! Twice it happened. Twice. Every single time I try to counter jungle, I hit Yi, and then Yi cuts me up. And I mean, I didn't die. I got away, but I just want to kill the minion. That doesn't happen very often. I never get don't hit the champion rage. I get don't hit the minion rage, usually. That is the patch for League of Legends 1.0.0.140B.
Moving right along to Draven.
Yes,
glorious
Draven.
executioner.
Okay, before we discuss anything about Draven's ability, I have to say it. Draven, you look so ridiculous. Everything about your character design is wrong. Just like those weapons. What the flick? I'm trying to keep this PG rated. It's my show, I can swear. Shut up. What is going on? I censored myself again. God damn it. What the fuck is with their swords that are called axes that split in two and spin around like freaking gyrocopters?
Gyrocopters.
Fuck!
Oh god, I've been waiting all week to hear this.
Your hair! Like, you're not Tristan Taylor. Your hair doesn't give you super strength. Your outfit, I can't really complain with. I hate your weapons so much. The design too illogical. Cannot comprehend hairstyle.
I don't even know how the hell he can spin them as he does.
I can understand how, like, having looked at it, the mechanics are fairly simple. You'd have, like, a well-oiled inner ring that basically looks like a stop sign that you hold, and then the rest of the blade spins around that, and you just spin it like you spin a rope, like a lasso. You use little wrist movements to, generate momentum at the outside spinning component. So that's how he's doing it.
So basically, physics.
basically physics.
I just realized...
they make sense, but they're so... now that I've looked at the physics, how they work makes sense, but everything else about them is just...
When you got a moment, look at his art. His classic art. If you look closely at the blade that's stuck in the guy's back, neck type area, basically where the mullet would end if he had one, you can see just at the very base of where the sharp part of the blade ends, to the left of it there's another one, so I'm guessing that's where the second blade is, and it kind of keeps up around there until he spins it, and then it kind of flicks out and becomes a double blade.
The blades are inside one another.
No, if you look, it's next to it. Go to his art. Do it. You see the blade is next to it. It's just behind it on the...
Yeah, that yeah. I assumed that they were inside each other, but it makes sense for them to be, on different planes because of the way the weapon spins around. Still stupid!
So stupid. You do not say correctly.
Okay, now we're going to talk about his abilities, and this is where I'm going to look really hypocritical. I'm going to give a great big hug to Riot. You have created a truly unique champion with some really, really interesting concepts, and I love every bit of them. Shut up.
You just hate the character that executes them.
I hate his weapons. I hate that they're called axes. They're clearly swords.
Or cleavers, at least.
I keep getting messages on Skype from Alicia, so I'm just gonna do that. You guys talk Draven for a bit.
Well, I love his animations because they're just awesome. Especially drama.
They definitely did do well on his animations, definitely. But we'll move on to his abilities for now.
Okay.
Okay, Wicked Blades, passive. Critical strikes deal bonus physical damage over time. Spinning Axe also causes this effect, even if it does not critically strike. Yep. No big surprise there. I mean, I never really noticed the damage over much from Wicked Blades myself when I played him.
Yeah, it's not something you... it's good, but it's not something that you massively notice. Spinning Blade. Spinning... No, I can't call it... I can't do it. It's not an axe. Spinning Sword. Riot. Say it with me now. Sword. Sword. It's got a blade all the way along the length. It is a sword. Spinning sword. Draven's next attack will deal bonus physical damage. This sword will ricochet off the target high up into the air. If Draven catches it, he automatically readies another spinning sword. Draven can have 2 spinning swords at once. That's going to be difficult to do, but I will keep it up for the rest of the show, I promise you. That move is just so cool. It's oddly out of character for Riot, I feel, because Riot is very... League of Legends is not a luck-based game. They have now got pretty much 2 luck components in the game that I can think of. One is critical chance, and the other is spinning sword.
Or what was it? I can't remember which of our friends it was that said it, but it's because of that one ability, it basically makes Draven the...
He's the new Master... not Master... Lee Sin.
He's... how do they put it? The first Pro League StarCraft champion. Simply because of the micro it takes.
I didn't. That wasn't me. Probably Andrew. Yeah, it's a high... Draven, with Spinning Axe, for the most part, is a massively... Well, not massively, but he's a high skill champion. But the first person to master Draven, completely catch every single Spinning Axe that he wants to catch, and always be in the exact position he wants, timing all his movements properly. The first Draven to do that will tear everybody apart. He's got such high damage potential with Spinning Sword. But until you reach that point, it's just shit. Because, like, there are moments I took tower shots because I accidentally went to go and get an axe. Like, I'm gonna get that axe. Didn't even get the axe. Sword. I said I'd keep it up. I'm trying. Didn't get the sword. Took the tower shot. Other times I got the sword, took the tower shot. Other times I nearly got myself killed by the enemy team, just like you were told not to do by our Lord and Master Freak.
Yeah, I think my favourite things about him...
I think there's a reason Freak wasn't playing him. I think Freak's like, F this, I'm not playing this, champ, this is stupid. This is too hard.
Yeah, there's one thing I like about the fact that he has to catch these lasers. A lot of new people or people who are just sort of trying them out are going to kind of not do what they're supposed to do, where you only keep one spinning blade going at a time, and when you're going to attack a champ, you then start the second one.
Yeah.
People are going to be having the two going when they're just farming minions, and this is going to be great because their concentration is on where the thing is, which makes them very easy to gank.
Hey, if you master Draven, you will be able to do that with success.
Yes, definitely.
You'll just... Swords everywhere! He's basically, like... back to the luck component, where the axe sword is going to land is randomized around where you are standing. Like, I've had long fights where I just basically stood still and they all landed on my head. I've had other fights where from the first axe sword I threw, I had to start running side to side, which prevents you auto-attacking all the time. So it's like... It's very uncharacteristic. It means that his damage output, if you're focusing the spinning swords, which you really want to do, because it's like 85% extra damage. Like...
Same.
If you want all of those, your damage output's randomized massively, because sometimes you have to move constantly to keep doing it. This is particularly for high attack speed players. You either have to keep moving to keep catching them, or you can just stand still and keep throwing shit at them.
Hey, I'm just thinking here. I've managed to build up to 1,700 damage critical strikes on a Garen. Is this guy's percentage increase? Does it increase critical strike damage as well?
I think so.
You could possibly get up to 3,000.
It can do critical strikes on the spinning blades as well.
It can do critical strikes, but I'm not sure if the critical strikes... Critical strikes will add...
Apply the bonus,
will
be added.
applied on the bonus physical damage, or whether
so it might
be
be base.
It is?
How they work is that it is... Like, the spinning blades, they basically just work as a regular attack, but at 185% damage rather than 100%.
So this is basically going to turn into how I thought Shaco worked. Oh my god. Because I used to think that Shaco, if you combined Trinity Force with Infinity Edge, and then as much damage as you can carry, you deceive behind them, and deal about 3,000 damage with a hit. I crunched the numbers, and it worked out at that. Turns out, his critical damage with Deceive isn't that good. It's not 180 something bonus damage or whatever it is. Or was it 210? Can't remember. It's not that much bonus damage, it's that much, that's how much it's critting for.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
Infinity
really
Edge will just add to that, won't it?
Yeah, it'll add to it, but it won't add as much. Like, I thought it was going to be a massive crit, but it wasn't. I was sad.
Let's move along to this next ability.
Blood Rush gains movement speed and attack speed. The movement speed bonus decreases rapidly over its duration. Catching a spinning axe sword will refresh the cooldown of Blood Rush.
Yeah.
That move is cool.
I need to look up how much mana that costs.
It makes chasing people really good so long as your sword doesn't fling off to the left or right.
I noticed the first two.
Them. It's an amazing steroid.
Steroids!
His first two, I think, seem to land where he's standing, whereas from and then on he has to move.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best I've noticed anyway from just watching it.
I think it's more random than that, but I'm not sure.
Oh, and Blood Rush is 40 mana per use.
Yes.
And it never goes up each level.
It's a good move. The thing with Draven is Freak's description of like what skills you should level and when is exactly right. Like, if there's almost no other way to do it. You have to stack spinning sword. Again, Riot, say it with me. Sword. You have to get that and stack that up, because that's his like, he gets so much damage. So much! Whereas Stand Aside and Blood Rush, Stand Aside you use for utility. I used it and knocked a Cho'Gath into a Teemo Mushroom. Greatest teamwork kill in my life. It's like,
I think
get on that mushroom, boy!
I think I only used Stand Aside like twice when I played it.
I used it a lot. It was kind of a good move, but I died so fast.
It's really only good if you do it from the side,
and
because then you can knock someone away from someone, or if you get it wrong, you knock them towards someone. So
good for hitting lots of minions too. Blood Rush is the other move that you just want to get lots of points in, because movement speed and attack speed. Who says no to that?
It doesn't go up the mana, so it doesn't really. Yeah. It's not like other moves where, what is it, like Shin's dash or anything. Yeah, you gain extra things. It's good to keep that.
Lastly, we have Whirling Death. His ultimate, Draven hurls 2 massive swords, dealing physical damage to each unit struck. Whirling Death slowly reverses direction and returns to Draven after striking an enemy champion. Draven may also activate this ability while the swords are in the flight. They're not really flying, they're kind of mowing through the ground, to cause it to return easily. Deals...
Early.
No, early. Shut up. Deals less damage for each unit it hits, and resets when the swords reverse direction. I stole a dragon. And hit the whole enemy team. It's like... That was my description of what happened. It was more like the swords went in, hit the whole enemy team, came back, took the dragon, and I caught them. And they were like, what the god?
I can one-up you on that, Will.
You stole the Baron?
Yep.
Nice.
I wanted to, but didn't.
But
they never went to Baron, and we got totally...
It is an amazing ultimate. I love it.
I think I know the development process for how they managed to create Whirling Death. What they did is they made Malphite and his rock shard, and then one day someone did it against Tristana and she rocket jumped away, and they went, holy crap, it went through the air, this is the most awesome effect in the world. And then they built Victor and they went, oh, we could use the braking in the terrain and it looks awesome. And then they liked it so much that they wanted 2 of them, so they made this because it uses the same effect.
They liked the effect so much that they wanted to make 2 of the effect at once.
Yep. That's the sole reason this move exists.
You've got to add this that at one point, again with the Tristana Malphite fight, they did the same, only instead of jumping away, Tristana jumped backwards over the air, and so the blade did a loop-de-loop. Which is the funniest thing to watch. And they saw that and went, we could make it go backwards.
Oh, God.
I just made it sound like someone at Riot is really, really high. Who knows? With Draven's hairstyle! However, I must compliment everyone who worked on his animations. My god, they look cool. Particularly, I'm whopping out and doing a point thing like, yeah!
I think my favourite part about his animations is that if you have a spinning blade and you recoil while it's spinning, he puts the spinning blade on his back, points at the summoner platform, and still spins until the effect goes off and then it stops. It's a helicopter.
Yeah. Maybe you should have 2 spinning swords and put them both on your back and just fly away. He doesn't bee, he flies to the summoner platform.
Actually, as Esriva pointed out to me, when he does pose for being back, he is always pointing at the summoner platform. Always points at it.
He is the coolest dude.
And not many people.
Darius, or whatever the other guy's name is, they're brothers, apparently. I believe
Darius.
he also has a warping out animation, but no one noticed or cared.
Yeah, I noticed one day because someone pointed out Draven does, and I went, oh, I'm playing Darius, I wonder if he's got one, and I pushed it, and he puts his axe into the sky, so it's kind of looked like he's doing the whole sort of 4 kind of power of light kind of thing.
By the power of my
Great skull!
He-Man.
Oh, great. Now someone's probably going to go make a He-Man Darius skin.
Not just that, but I want to see, like, I want to have them do sound effects so that as he bees out, like, just as he disappears, it just goes, He-Man. And he returns to base.
No! I know the best Swain skin! Superhero Swain, and his ultimate he goes, Birdman!
Harvey Birdman!
Birdman, get in here! That would be, oh my god. But, yeah, I want to see them, I'm hoping that there's actually an Ash one, since the new Ash reskinny thing. I'm hoping that as they up the visuals of champions, and speaking of which, Rise, you kind of need a facelift.
No, the next one's going to be Twisted Fate.
But Rise!
Twisted Fate has to be the next one. He doesn't dance, come on.
I have a Trill card on my finger. I'm clever.
Slowly back and forward, because that apparently is a dance.
It's called the Twisted Fate. It will pick up those chicks and actually reflect, like it will generate a field which people will not want to be in, and just push everyone away from you until the entire club is empty. If you continue, if you get a card, like do it with a Pokemon card just to be super classy. Walk into the middle of a dance floor at a club and just do that, all the whole night, and everyone will be like, what? And don't stop, don't talk to anyone, do nothing. Probably put it on YouTube as well because it'll be hilarious. But just keep doing it until everyone leaves. Until there is no. People it will get to the point where the bartender will just be like, I'm out, man, I'm out. And you just keep doing it, refuse to move, until security literally picks you up and throws you out.
I don't know why I thought of this while you were saying that, but they need to make a character who looks a bit like Ari, and she has an area effect move. She's very attractive. She has an area effect move called the Friend Zone.
Also, reverse. I didn't know you were a furry. I'm sorry, man, but it's like Ari very attractive. I'm like, she has tails.
I was trying to think of the champion in the game that would be.
It's just too many.
But it's only 9.
I'm not. Let's forget that happened.
But yeah, that's my contribution.
Wow, we got through that in an hour. And 10 minutes. Kind of makes me feel like
it is a short patch.
It was a fairly short patch. Draven, I know you can't redesign him now, but could you at least change his tooltip so they say sword? Please write for me.
I would be happy with Cleaver, because the blade doesn't go all the way down, but it's massive.
Cleaver I would be happy with. It's not an axe. Axes look like Draven's thing. That's an axe. I mean, yes, it's a big axe, but it's an axe.
Darius, you mean.
Basically.
I'm just beating myself on the head now.
Pay attention, Leo.
I thought you were taking your headphones off and walking out the door.
I'm out. I do like how Draven and Darius' hairstyles are in sync. Like, one goes forward and left, and the other one goes backwards and left, I think. Or maybe backwards and right.
I think they both go left.
Regardless.
No, they both go right.
Damn it!
Oh, right, their side, our left.
Yeah.
Right their side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, still kind of right.
Their hair is, like, in sync.
Although, knowing now, though, with the whole kind of mix of... Is the art... has it been mirrored? Because when they released Varus, people can't tell whether he's ambidextrous or they've just mirrored his art because of the way that he holds his crossbow in either hand. I don't know. Is it the same? It'd be pretty cool if different skins hit him with different hands, but yeah.
In terms of the splash art for Varus, he does hold it in his classic. It's in his right. In his Blight Crystal one, it's in his left.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna go with ambidextrous. What about his in-game model?
In-game model, I don't believe changes in terms of which hand he favors.
Well, then they probably just someone during the splash art mirrored it. Is what happened. Because you see, if you watch the art spotlight, which I don't for the most part, but sometimes it's entertaining. Maokai's was good. You watch the art spotlight every so often. They just go, no, I don't like it like this, and just flip it, and then go and flip it back. And they keep doing it in periods. Like, which way do I want it? I don't even know.
Maybe he just likes working on a certain part of the screen.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's done by a robot, like sitting at a computer desk, and so its photoreceptors only pointed at one part of the screen in focus, and the rest is out of focus.
Well, I'm looking at the art a lot of the time, especially when they first, I've noticed this when they released Lulu. They classic art for them when you're looking at the champion selection screen. It's in a certain angle, but it always seems to be the opposite angle. It's always mirrored when they show it as the login screen with the animations and the music and everything. It seems to be mirrored. Like, I'm going to chase that.
With this dude, I love the music. I want to know where that music is in the source files, because all the music for login stuff I can find is the original stuff, which we haven't heard since Lulu came out. I'm loving the new login music thing that you're doing, but let me have the files. I will find them. I won't, because there's a lot of LOL. I swear I've got 2 different folders on my computer for LOL. All with massive amounts of files in them. I don't even know how it happened, but there's stuff everywhere. I can't.
It's pretty
find
interesting.
The music.
Just look, and yeah, Draven's animation. Draven's animated login screen is mirrored compared to his classic art, but with each one they're doing, it's getting more and more awesome. Draven at some point
really, really good, and it fits his character so well. That's something else.
The animations as well. They're getting more betterer.
More betterer. Yeah. Yes, they are.
I think soon enough they're actually going to just have full CG movie login screen soon.
A full movie, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's a 2.5 hour
they don't
login
have
screen
the
movie.
Time for that.
Well, they've got enough time to make these awesome. I don't know how they're even doing it. It's really.
They'll generate a computer program which can generate a CG movie in 5 minutes.
Alright, now, naturally, I don't know the specifics, because 2D animation, not exactly my forte. But from what I can tell from here, basically, his arm in the back, that's actually spinning it, that is a separate layer.
Yeah, I can guess the separate.
Other than that, a lot of it, from what I can tell, it's actually a lot of image warping. It just looking at the fur and his hair and that is a lot of image warping.
Now, for the audience, I'm going to speak really quietly so they can't hear me. For the audience, if you could see, if we did Skype with video footage and had decent internet and stuff, and could do that, what you would see is my eyes actually glazed over. My face went relaxed, and if you could see my ears, my ear lids, I didn't used to have them. I grew some, and they closed.
Ear lids.
That's what I said.
Oh,
I said. I don't do the techno mama jamba. I understood some of that, but yeah.
It's why I try not to go on for too long unless Danny's around.
And it's why I hold a cane. Well, it's not, but I hold a cane because I am a
That's why I hold a cane. I don't, but yeah.
Shut up. Quit your jibber jabber, fool. So yeah, this has banned the League of Legends thingamathing, with the thingamathing and more thingamathings. How about we do our last little segment, because we actually have time for it to actually show up in the VOD, actually. I said actually way too many times, and so I decided just to keep saying actually to make it into a sort of joke, actually.
Anywho.
I came up with this topic like a week and a bit ago, and I've been holding on to it since then. This topic is in regards to the meta. I am going to say it, and I want this to be on the record. It probably already is, but meta is something that I don't agree with. I want everyone to play the game for themselves and not look at guides and not look at Shabuzi. Well, no, not Shabuzi, because that's Jesse Cox. Shut up! Not look at all these things that fill their head with preconceived notions, and then they play them and they go, this champion sucks. And it's like, no, you're just not playing it to your play style. You are going to be different to every other person and shouldn't be following everything that they do. Oh, I could go on for hours. But, like, the concept of the metagame, of there being all these rules and things around how you can play, shits me. I understand why it's there, and we have some sort of tenuous relationship. I don't like it. It doesn't like... Well, it's indifferent to me. But we get along because it's convenient for it to exist. And with LoL, there's a lot of people who want to be good, and there are some things that you just... Like, you need to learn how to play, at least, and it's good for that. But there's something that I look at and ask why it is as it is, and that is formations. For those of you who can't figure out what I mean by that, there is a standard. If you don't have a jungle, you've got two bottom lane, two top lane, one middle. Who you've got where is variable depending on what the current meta is, but that's how it is. And jungle. If your team has a jungle, you've got one in the jungle, one in mid, one at top, two at bot. I have a problem with that. Can anyone here in this call that's not Craig, because I've already told him and explained my opinions, ask why I would, or come up with a reason as why I would have a problem with there being one top, one mid, two bottom.
And I'm the only other person in this call, so I know it's directed at me.
Yeah, I'm glad you figured that out, because if you did, I'd probably kick you off the show. Or if you didn't, rather.
If I did,
if you did, you figured it out, get off! Okay, now enough of pretending this is a schoolroom environment. If you have one person top, two mid, one bottom, you've got a much more even disbursement of your forces, essentially. Think this kind of strategy gaming, because it is when you look at it from this level. It is a strategy. If you've got two people in mid, and this would probably work best if everyone shifted this meta, but I'll go into how I'd like things to be in a bit. If you have two in the mid, you've got room for them to beat back as required, and more importantly, one of the people from mid can disappear while still keeping the lane filled, defended. You can disappear and with relative ease get to either top or bottom. No,
you've also got the person in jungle as well.
Yeah, you've also got the person in jungle, so you can assist in ganks, or you can shift to cover someone's lane if the jungle is right on the other side of the map. You've got more mobility to shift your positioning.
Well, for the sake of argument here, I'm going to be the part of the disagreeing, annoying person.
Yeah.
The current meta has it so that everyone except for the support gets full farm from that lane. If you have two people in mid, it's going to be half the farm.
I wouldn't do it as a support. Like, I would, like, you'd need to restructure how you think things. If you put your support in mid, they'd be getting some of the farm, but I would go for it with either a tank and a roamer. By roamer, I mean someone like Eve, a champion who can easily shift lane to lane with a number of purposes to shift. Like, she can either go there to, or they can either move lane to defend the other lane, or assist in a gank, but they're not necessarily a jungle. The kind of champion who can kind of do some of the jobs the jungle can, but can't jungle effectively. That's the kind of person I'd want in mid. Like, you'd have to restructure where you position everyone.
So you're not sort of saying, you're basically not rearranging the AD carry, the AD bruiser, the AP carry and mid. You're basically redoing the entire idea.
You want to restructure it from first principles, and it would have different strengths and different weaknesses. It would be much more flexible than the current one, because you can very easily have a 3-man gank. If you have top under threat and you want to gank top with the standard build out, so you've got one person up there fighting one other person, suddenly well, not so much he gets ganked, but he's getting beat up because you got a shit Nunu. I'm trying to think of a champion that could be top, and I wanted to say Draven, and I wanted to say Singed, but you play both of those, Danny, so let's not be mean. Shit Nunu. So,
you're talking player skill, not champion, so I'm okay. You can say... I'm happy to say bad
getting abused violently by Singed, because Singed is a boss. Warwick wants to keep jungling, or Warwick is all the way at golems, and assuming you're the blue team, he's at golems, he's right down the bottom of the map, he needs to get all the way up to top, he just can't make it in time. If you've got someone who's flexible in mid, someone who can easily disengage because there's not someone already there, it's so much faster than if you got someone at bottom lane who's the spare person who can, with some relative ease, without leaving a tower undefended, can shift somewhere else. You've got a massive degree of flexibility there, but you need someone with a team, not just one person, a team with the capability to go and the thought to figure out, okay, if we're going to do this build, we want, I don't know, our AD carry bottom, or maybe middle, depending on how you do it, and just decide where you could fit everyone in to get a good team composition, but at the same time make the team composition designed for the formation. And
well, currently for the top lane, top lane wouldn't change at all. Currently, unless the meta ends up changing, but currently you wouldn't have to change your top lane. Bottom lane, currently you basically have to make sure that they are a ranged attacker of some sort.
They have to be soloable champion. And importantly, seeing as you're likely to be fighting the standard meta, you'd need to have someone with the player skill capable of dealing with 2 players at once.
Which is one reason why I said a ranged character on bottom lane.
It would be a difficult transition. Anyway, go on.
Mid lane, you could do whatever you wanted in there, really. And I mean, jungle, there's only so many jungles. But yeah, the main, not a very big change. It's just that the second person in mid lane would have to be someone who could adapt easily.
What I want to see is for it to get to the point, because yeah, we've got this standard meta, but it's not necessarily ideal. It has its strengths and weaknesses. It has the strengths of having a usually AP carry and someone tanky and durable top, and then you've got a support AD carry bottom lane, which works really, really efficiently. It means you've got your support assisting in getting some really good kills. You've got everyone who needs farm is getting farm. And it's quite efficient to that end, but if you then pitted it against a build that was more flexible and more capable of, say, a 3-man gank, it would be interesting to see. Also, would the AP carries traditionally being very good against single target, certainly early game, not so good at the AoEs, although it varies depending on which champion, would they be able to handle 2 people in the lane? Particularly if, say, you used Evelyn or another stealth champion there because you wanted a good roamer and they didn't know you were there at the start. Could you get an early kill? It would be... What I want to see is mechanics evolving into hopefully Pro League play, but this is where it's going to be hardest for them to get it right because they've trained all their lives with something else, where teams have different overall strategies. They don't just fight on the same playing field, go, okay, they're going to use this formation of 1 top, 1 mid, 2 bottom jungle. We're going to use exactly the same formation and just hope we've got a better champion selection or higher skill level. Maybe they go, okay, instead we'll use this formation.
So you're basically saying you want to change it so that it's more like Gridiron.
Yes, kind of. Not to the point where everyone does the new thing, but to the point where some people do and some people don't. And teams will be known to be better at one formation than the other. And so the other team can go, okay, which are we better at? And can we use the strengths of the other one to exploit the weaknesses of what they're doing?
So instead of saying, okay, they're going to have a person on top, I need to counter it with this person, you'll be more thinking about what formation will counter their formation. If you can predict the formation they have with their teams.
Certainly for competitive team play, your team could have a look at who's coming up in your next serious engagement and go, okay, we'll be fighting them at this event. Their history is that they'll use this in this way, and you kind of can predict what they're going to do, not just champion-wise, but, not just champion-wise, but formation. Just add another layer to the game in what people can and can't do. It's something I'd like to see happen, but it's something that the community of the game needs to accept first. If you went into a game and said, we should do this, it's not going to happen.
Chances are you'd be laughed out.
You'd be laughed out, or they'd go, you're stupid and we're going to lose, surrender at 20. I've been raising this concept with my team, this being you guys, although you guys haven't been around as, you particularly, Danny, haven't been around as long. I've been raising this concept for a year, periodically, and there are certain members of our team who simply won't accept it.
They're being... Oh no, don't say names.
Personally, I've got no problem with it, but I mean, we just haven't played very many ranked games.
Anyway, I have to go. I will... Well, that's been the show. I'm glad you've been watching it, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.
See you all for the next patch.
Bye.
Bye.